Well, clearly not the inning any Badgers player, coach, or any Badger fan for that matter would have wanted, but it's a cold reality. The Minnesota Golden Gophers came to town and went back home with Paul Bunyan's axe after a 24-7 win, as the offensive inconsistency again was a factor for Wisconsin, as well as the Badgers' inability to stop the run. We'll take a look back at some of Friday afternoon's game. We'll hear from some of the players. We'll check in with a highly respected senior Hunter Wohler. We'll also look around campus, including a Wisconsin basketball team off to a very encouraging start. All of that coming up on this week's edition of the Badger Sports Report. Two receivers left, two receivers right. Jamison gears, motions to the formation, snap to Brosman. Looking under pressure, and down he goes! Inside the 45 of Minnesota as Elijah Hills gets home. And the Gophers are forced to punt. Ball at the Minnesota 15-yard line. Back to throw, looking, fires right side, end zone, caught, touchdown Wisconsin. Vinny Anthony right edge of the end zone as the Badgers finally are on the board.
Set the standard, let's go.
Ricardo Holman from one end of the yard to the other. Touchdown Wisconsin as the Badgers are back in the fight. Touchdown Wisconsin, Jez Malusi, 89 yards. And it's picked off by Hunter Wohler. There is a big win for the Wisconsin Badgers.
The Badger Sports Report is presented by UW Health. UW Health Sports Medicine, treating the Badgers, treating you. And is brought to you by Construction Business Group, Wisconsin operating engineers and respected contractors, building Wisconsin together. And by Gruber Law Offices, a proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. One call, that's all.
This is a hallway. Doesn't evoke much feeling. But to those facing cancer or a complex condition, it feels like relief. Because all the doctors, treatments, and technology you've been fighting to find, they're all right here, under one roof, connected by hallways instead of highways. Welcome to East Park Medical Center. UW Health. Remarkable.
At Gruber Law Offices, we take great pride in helping those who have trusted us after a serious accident. Our team has the knowledge, resources, and experience to get you the results you deserve. Don't wait to get the help you need. Make the right call. Call Gruber Law Offices today, proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. One call, that's all.
My name is Kels Morrissey. I've been with Hy-Vee for 12 years. For 95 years, Hy-Vee was known on its quality and service, and right now that isn't enough, which is why we lowered thousands of prices. It pains me to know that customers are having to choose different retailers, some of which don't offer the quality that Hy-Vee does, just to make ends meet on their grocery shopping. We need to gain the customer's trust back that we have the best prices, and I guarantee you that going forward, we will.
Clear your path to a great career today. Climb to reach your career potential with no loans and no debt, so you can earn while you learn. A Wisconsin Operating Engineer's Apprenticeship is your opportunity to work outdoors and get heavy equipment experience. Partner with your employer for serious pay, great health and pension benefits. Acquire real-world experience while building Wisconsin together. To start your career journey, visit join139.com today.
This is a low for us. This is something that we never want to feel again. I certainly never want to feel again. I believe that we've got to find a way to elevate our standard in our program, and I think it starts with leadership. I think I'm going to take a hard look at myself and find out where I can be better, and I'll make those changes and make those improvements. And you'll see a better version of me come next year. Like I said, these guys, they mean the world to me, and I'll go to battle for them any day.
One last game at home to go out with the guys that I came in with and give my everything, to one last game and thankfully I was able to do that. I was blessed enough to get to go out there and play today, and I have no regrets. I love this place to death. I love all the people that I've crossed paths with being here, and it's been a lot of fun.
It sucks is we don't want to be in this position to have this many losses in a row, and obviously the only thing we can do now is hope that we get a good amount of people to come back. I hope a lot of people don't leave and stuff like that, and we can just build off of this and know like this is the lowest we're ever going to be, and hopefully we can come back and be better next year.
We believe in education. We believe in public schools. At WEA Member Benefits, we believe in helping Wisconsin public school employees and their families achieve their financial goals by providing personal insurance, retirement and investment, and financial planning programs that are designed specifically for the education community. Proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics, WEAbenefits.com.
Toyotathon is on. Shake up the holidays with an exciting new Toyota. Take an all-wheel drive Camry to go ice skating. Visit Grandma in a Highlander.
Grandma!
You got it. Or bring home a tree in a Tacoma.
Are we in a snow globe?
Did you know that every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care? A 2-year or 25,000-mile maintenance plan and roadside assistance. That's the value you can expect from Toyota.
'Tis the season for Toyotathon.
Toyota, let's go places.
Talked a lot this season, and if you listen to any national media, they talk about how the landscape is changing in college football, college athletics in general, a little bit more NFL-like, but it's still college football, and two things separate the college game from the NFL. One is senior day, and the other are the rivalry trophy games, and that's part of what makes this special from day one in your time here. And I would imagine day one when you played and coached, you've always embraced those kind of aspects of college football, right?
I've always said it. I think that's what makes college football so special. And there's a lot of things in there, like I said, the growth and the things like that, but the ability to hold on to what these rivalries have been and will continue to be, I think is really, really important. I grew up that way, being a Big Ten guy, the history of the rivalries and things like that. So it's been something that's been ingrained in my system that, hey, this is what it makes it all. No matter what records are, no matter what the season is like, it comes down to that last week. It comes down to your ability to get up for that final rivalry game.
And it's appropriate to have these rivalry games at the end of the season. There was a stretch of time where Minnesota, Wisconsin might be in the middle, but for many years now, it's been at the end of the year. That needs to stay the same, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's some of that has thought about changing. There's some of those historic rivalries that aren't the last game. I think of OU and Texas maybe, but the nature of it is that the last week of the season, it just, I think it adds so much more to what it is that we've always done. And there is some history that I think we all want to keep about college football, and I think this is one of them.
And senior day, obviously, for those who have been here all along and those who have come in and have either been one-year transfers or, maybe 2 years. It's a special moment. They're introduced. You get, family and who can make it, family and friends. That is a special part of this that these guys always remember, right?
I never thought about it. It's what's different than the NFL. They don't have a senior night.
They don't do that.
That's for sure. But it is. It's one of those things that I always thought was kind of hard because, you get emotional and you got to be able to turn it off and, in 7 minutes go play a football game. But it's no better way to pay tribute to those guys that have been here. And even the guys that have been here for 1 year. They've had to, embrace and they've had to, accept everything, whether they've been here for 5 years or for 1 year. And to that, we'd love to be able to give them that great send-off.
When I moved here 100 years ago, I didn't know much of anything about the battle for Paul Bunyan's axe. I thought, what is this? And then you see it even one time as a broadcaster, you go, oh, I get it now. I just remember last year, Luke, your staff, players, I saw the clip on social media. It's like, oh, they get it. Now, it doesn't, if you've been here your whole life or if you're new, you get it in a hurry, don't you?
You do, and that's what we don't want guys to forget, whether they've been here, whether they've seen the change of college football and what the Big Ten is. Don't want them to forget what rivalries are about, what the Paul Bunyan's axe, what the history is like, and what it feels like to be able to hold that thing afterwards. And that was a great time. I mean, that was something that I'll never forget. And the very first time I had the opportunity to play in that football game, but we've got to continue that, and everybody within our program has to understand that.
Final home game, obviously, of the season. Home crowds, it seems like they've really been good this year. Obviously, the schedule with the opponents coming in here, including obviously Minnesota with the rivalry game, but if it's Penn State, Oregon, et cetera. But they've been good from start to finish here, haven't they?
They've done a great job. It's been exciting. It's been really, really fun to see it continue to grow. And can't thank them enough. I know our seniors feel the same exact way. And there's no better way to kind of go out and finish this thing, saluting them as well on a senior day to say thank you, because they mean so much and they do make this place a special place to play.
We mentioned this on your radio show last week, that there's, talked to a number of your guys. And in a season that's been an emotional roller coaster, some could say, man, it seems like it's been a long year. I haven't heard that from anybody. It's like it's gone quickly. I was asking Ricardo Hallman about that. He goes, yeah, we were saying the same thing during the bye week. It's already, like, you're already this deep in the season. As long as you're hearing that, that's a pretty positive sign.
Yeah, and I think that's where these guys have all that's the maturity of the program and maturity of the team, is to recognize we went into the season, understand that there was going to be a battle, it was going to be quite a climb, and our ability to be able to handle those things and continue to look forward to what is in front of us, not dwell upon the things that are behind us. And we've had some bumps and bruises and things like that, but I think all in all, these guys understand how fast this thing really goes.
Finally, this has been a short week, and as you see this, obviously the game is in the books here. But you went through this a few times with the staff at Cincinnati, right? Where you would play on maybe a Friday, and that's real. That's a challenge there. You guys are used to the calendar is pretty set. Yeah. Now this is a little bit of a curveball.
It is, and I think at the end of the year it makes it even more difficult, because the recovery is something that gets critical down the stretch. But again, we don't make those schedules, and I think in some ways, these guys in particular might be a little bit liked it a little bit more, because in that last week you got to kind of shorten things down, kind of be specific to what you're doing. It does put a little bit more pressure, I think, coaches-wise, in your preparation, because you're so structured at what you want to be able to do. But all in all, it doesn't really matter. You got to be prepared for whenever that ball's going to be kicked off.
All right, we will take a break. Much more to come as we continue with this week's edition of the Badger Sports Report.
At Gruber Law Offices, we take great pride in helping those who have trusted us after a serious accident. Our team has the knowledge, resources, and experience to get you the results you deserve. Don't wait to get the help you need. Make the right call. Call Gruber Law Offices today. Proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. One call, that's all.
This is a hallway. Doesn't evoke much feeling. But to those facing cancer or a complex condition, it feels like relief. Because all the doctors, treatments, and technology you've been fighting to find, they're all right here, under one roof, connected by hallways instead of highways. Welcome to East Park Medical Center. UW Health. Remarkable.
Badger fans know about Hunter Wohler, a Wisconsin guy living the dream and putting together a terrific career, a terrific senior season. He's on a short list, too, at Wisconsin. Defensive back with 200-plus career tackles, the last DB here to do that. He's a pretty good DB himself, and Michael Caputo back 2014 was when his playing career came to a conclusion. We have Hunter with us now. 200-plus tackles, man. We were talking before taping. You're not afraid to throw your body around all over the place. It's what you love to do. If you're close to the line of scrimmage, whatever, that's right in your wheelhouse, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why I love defense so much, is being able to run around and hit people and play the whole field. So I definitely enjoy that part of the game.
Yeah, as we talked even last year, the fact that everybody, Coach Leonard used you in different ways, Coach Tressel and Coach Grinch, they get you up close to the line of scrimmage. That was something you were excited about, though, from day one, weren't you?
Yeah. I like being around the ball, and I like being close to the ball, and sometimes having to take on a block's fun in some cases. But yeah, I like being down as close to the ball as I can be, and right on the line of scrimmage, and get some opportunities to make some plays.
I mentioned at the top, you're a guy, living the dream here. You're a Badger fan, grew up being a Badger fan. You're now going to go down as one of certainly the most respected Badgers here for quite some time. You've seen a little bit of everything, but the total experience, though, how do you think that's made you better here to this point of your college career?
You talked about experiencing a lot of different things, and I think having different coaches, it's never easy having those transitions, but you learn a lot, and you see the game from a different perspective, and having to learn two different defenses, I think, also has just helped me, become a smarter and more well-rounded football player. But, I think just being at Wisconsin it's a great place, great atmosphere, great locker room. So it's, that's the biggest part of it is, I just enjoy being here and love being here and love the guys. So, that makes it real easy.
I remember one of the social media clips that the football folks put out. And this was probably in the winter or maybe the summer, where you were getting the message across as one of the leaders, say, hey, I'm a senior. This is it for me. Have you been able to, as much as you're focusing on the next practice, the next game, have you given yourself a little time each week to just take a look around and say, this is pretty cool what I've been able to do here?
I've tried to, but it definitely gets hard just because, like you said, it's, what's next? You're focusing on the next day, the next game, whatever the next thing is coming that you have to be prepared for. So I probably don't do it as much as I should be, and I know I told myself coming into this year that I was going to, but I've definitely kind of made an emphasis for myself in, when we run out of the field on Saturdays, just looking around and just taking it in and enjoying it, especially at home, because opportunities are limited. And even being on the road, just cherishing every moment and enjoying those Friday night dinners with the boys and just the little things that make college so special.
Everybody tells me that when they get toward the end of their career, when the career is done, we all remember when you did this, that, or the other on the field. But it's the locker room, it's the dinners, it's the maybe the plane rides. Those are the things, it sounds like, that stand out to you, even though you've got more ahead of you here as we speak. But those are the things that mean a lot to you. Yeah.
Obviously you come to play football for the games, but everything that you really truly look back on and remember is just all the little things and the little moments of goofing around in the locker room and hanging out up watching film with all the guys, and like I said, the Friday night dinners and just little things when you get to be with the boys, and it's not necessarily strictly about football, but it's just hanging out and enjoying each other. You have emerged as one of the leaders of this team. Coach Fickell, Brady Collins, they've talked about that. Guys like you, Jake Chaney. What defines being a really strong, you're a lead by example guy, but when you have something to say, you'll say it too. But what defines a good leader? I think respect is a big part of it, and I think respect is definitely earned, and you have to do that by not necessarily always being the vocal one, but by showing up to work every day and doing things the right way and carrying yourself the right way and going about your business the right way. I think that means a lot, and by doing that you earn a lot of respect with how hard you work, with how much you study, with you name it. I think that gives you a chance to be a leader, and then when, like you said, when things need to be said, someone's got to say it, and it happens to fall on certain people, and I guess myself and Chaney have found ourselves in those positions, which we love. We love being leaders, and just continuing to push these boys every day. One of the things that Jake talked about too, we visited with him recently, is how a lot of the new guys, if they're freshmen, if they're transfers, have really fit. And year two with Coach Fickell and his staff, but that's helped as you guys continue to grow this thing. Jake's right, isn't he? Wherever they're from, as true freshmen or wherever they may have played in college previously, they seem to check the boxes athletically for sure, but in all the other areas too. Yeah, I give Coach Fick a lot of credit for the guys that they brought in. Transfers especially, because you go other places and who knows what could happen, but the guys they brought in have been really solid dudes and have been great additions to the team on and off the field. And then the freshmen there's obviously a couple guys that are making their presence known right away this year. So yeah, I give the coaches a lot of credit, and I think it's also a little bit credit to this place and this program, just because of the culture that is put in place. And I think that if guys don't kind of fall in line a little bit right away and prepare and train the way that this place always has and always will, they'll stand out a little bit. So, but yeah, I do give the coaches a lot of credit for bringing in the right people. Who were those guys you looked up to when you first got here among the players? In terms of the safety room, Scott Nelson and Colin Wilder were, big kind of motivators and leadership dudes for the team, and guys that I looked up to a lot, just because, you know, they went about things the right way, and they were gracious enough to take me and some of the other guys under their wing and teach us and coach us. But then like Jake Ferguson, who, you know, just shows up, and, you know, he's one of the guys that I haven't seen much of, but like just shows up and is happy just loves to play the game, loves being at work. So just guys like that just, you know, like I said, do things the right way and enjoy every moment of it, and also care for people that, you know, don't necessarily know them that well or haven't gained their respect yet, but just caring for players and the program itself.
And all those guys you mentioned and many others, and you obviously are a big part of that too. You embrace the off-the-field opportunities in terms of, you know, being out into the public. The Read On Wisconsin program here that they do, part of the Badgers Give Back, and you're able to go back to the hometown, to the library, and that's pretty important to you, isn't it? Yeah, I love it because just, you know, I love kids, first of all, so like going and being able to hang out with kids it's easy for me. But then being able to just go home and give back to the community that I grew up in, that really raised me and, you know, gave me the opportunities that, you know, that I've been blessed to have. It means a lot, and, you know, I know it means a lot to my hometown, and so to be able to do that there and, you know, wherever I can, it's definitely very important to me, just because, you know, if it weren't for them, I wouldn't be where I am. So. Final thought, you probably had the guys that you looked up to when you were growing up as Badgers, and now you're that guy somebody who's maybe in 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, say, I want to be the next Hunter Wohler. I'm sure people tell you that. You know, the kids will tell you that. When you hear that, how's it make you feel? I mean, good. It's definitely a compliment. Yeah, that's kind of all there is to it. It's definitely cool. It's a compliment, and it means a lot just knowing that, you know, what I've done here and the way that I've carried myself has made an impact, and, you know, has given kids the, you know, the look that, you know, I play the game and live my life the right way. So, you know, it's definitely special to me. Humble guy, and one of the good ones here at the University of Wisconsin, Hunter Wohler. We'll take a break. More to come as we continue with the Badgers Sports Report.
Toyotathon is on. Shake up the holidays with an exciting new Toyota. Take an all-wheel drive Camry to go ice skating. Visit Grandma in a Highlander.
Grandma! You got it.
Or bring home a tree in a Tacoma.
Are we in a snow globe?
Did you know that every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care? A 2-year or 25,000-mile maintenance plan and roadside assistance. That's the value you can expect from Toyota.
'Tis the season for Toyotathon.
Toyota, let's go places.
We believe in education. We believe in public schools. At WEA Member Benefits, we believe in helping Wisconsin public school employees and their families achieve their financial goals by providing personal insurance, retirement and investment, and financial planning programs that are designed specifically for the education community. Proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics, WEAbenefits.com.
The Badger Sports Report is presented by UW Health. UW Health Sports Medicine, treating the Badgers, treating you. And is brought to you by Construction Business Group, Wisconsin operating engineers and respected contractors, building Wisconsin together. And by Gruber Law Offices, a proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. One call, that's all.
Zinga serving left to right. It goes at Damrow. Great pass to Furburner. To Booth, who ends it this evening. And the Badgers will send their 6 seniors out with a win on senior night.
The aim is high on the left, goes into Crowell. They get the double on Stevie, and Tanjay's wide open, flashing down the lane, catching and dunking. Gives it up to Tanjay on the right side. Tanjay against Spinelli, dribbles around him. Feeds Winter down the lane, 2-hand slam dunk, Nolan Winter. That's how you respond.
Over to the right side. Next time we're still looking for that one-timer. 20 seconds remain. Shot coming, they score!
Anderson ties this one up with 19 seconds remaining.
We'll shift our attention to Wisconsin basketball. Big Ten play begins on Tuesday night as the Badgers host Michigan, followed by the annual rivalry game against Marquette, this one happening in Milwaukee. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks for watching.
This is a hallway. Doesn't evoke much feeling. But to those facing cancer or a complex condition, it feels like relief. Because all the doctors, treatments, and technology you've been fighting to find, they're all right here, under one roof, connected by hallways instead of highways. Welcome to East Park Medical Center. UW Health. Remarkable.
At Gruber Law Offices, we take great pride in helping those who have trusted us after a serious accident. Our team has the knowledge, resources, and experience to get you the results you deserve. Don't wait to get the help you need. Make the right call. Call Gruber Law Offices today, proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. One call, that's all.
My name is Kels Morrissey. I've been with Hy-Vee for 12 years. For 95 years, Hy-Vee was known on its quality and service, and right now that isn't enough, which is why we lowered thousands of prices. It pains me to know that customers are having to choose different retailers, some of which don't offer the quality that Hy-Vee does, just to make ends meet on their grocery shopping. We need to gain the customer's trust back that we have the best prices, and I guarantee you that going forward, we will.